Vladimir Putin, one of the most well-known figures in world politics for quite a long time. Even for those not interested in politics, something definitely comes to mind when Putin is mentioned. He is the former KGB agent, a staunch animal lover, and the figure who revitalized the country after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, and the person who initiated the Ukraine war in 2022 as the president of Russia. So what do we actually know about Putin, who has been an important figure in global politics for a full 23 years? Let's take a closer look. Welcome to the Just History YouTube channel. Putin was born on October 7, 1952, in Leningrad, Soviet Union. His grandfather, Spiridon Putin, was the personal cook of Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin. Before Putin's birth, two of his brothers had died. Albert, born in the 1930s, died as an infant. And Victor, born in 1940, died of diphtheria and starvation during the siege of Leningrad by Nazi Germany in 1942. Putin's mother was a factory worker, and his father was a sailor in the Soviet Navy's submarine fleet in the early 1930s. At the beginning of World War II, his father served in the NKVD's destruction battalion. Later, he was transferred to the regular army and was heavily wounded in 1942. Putin's grandmother was killed by Germans who occupied the Tver region in 1941. And his maternal uncles went missing on the Eastern Front during World War II. At the age of 8, Putin started school at number 193 on Baskov Lane near his home. He was one of the few students in the class of about 45 who had not yet joined the Young Pioneers organization. At the age of 12, he began practicing Sambo and Judo. In his spare time, he enjoyed reading the works of Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, and Lenin. Putin received German language education at St. Petersburg High School 281 and speaks German as a second language. In 1970, Putin enrolled in what is now known as St. Petersburg State University, where he studied law and graduated in 1975. After graduating from the law department in 1975, Putin pursued a master's degree in economics. Following his graduation, Putin began working at the KGB in 1975 and served for a period in Germany. Upon his return to Leningrad, he also took on administrative roles within the university. In 1990, Putin worked as an advisor to the Leningrad City Council, and from 1991 to 1992, he served as the deputy mayor of the city and the chairman of the External Relations Committee of the City Council. After holding various positions in the administration of St. Petersburg until 1996, Putin was appointed deputy chief of the Presidential Property Management Directorate at the Kremlin Palace in 1996, a position he held until 1997. He then served as chief of the presidential administration from 1997 to 1998, and as director of the Federal Security Service, FSB, from 1998 to 1999. From August 9 to 16, 1999, Putin served as deputy prime minister and acting prime minister. And from August 16 onwards, he became the Prime Minister of Russia. Following the resignation of President Boris Yeltsin on December 31, 1999, Putin assumed the presidency in an acting capacity, as required by the Constitution, until a presidential election could be held within 3 months. Putin won the presidential election in Russia with over 50% of the vote in the first round. On May 7, 2008, he completed his term and handed over the presidency to the new president, Dmitry Medvedev, becoming the Prime Minister of Russia. Putin was elected President of Russia for the 3rd time on March 4, 2012, with 63.6% of the vote. Vladimir Putin was elected as the candidate of the ruling United Russia Party for the presidency. The government under President Medvedev was also formed by this party. However, there are significant political differences between Putin and Medvedev. While Medvedev shows no interest in the Soviet era, Putin has made several speeches praising the Soviet period. Putin has stated that the collapse of the Soviet Union is the greatest tragedy of the 20th century. Accused of seeking to regain control over former Soviet republics in international politics, Putin is actually striving to establish dominance in eastern Ukraine, which is historically referred to as Old Russia and is densely populated by Russians. He has stated that the aim is to ensure the security of Russians in these territories, where the Russian population is concentrated. On August 9, 1999, Putin was appointed as one of the first 3 deputy prime ministers. And later that day, he was appointed as the acting prime minister of the Russian Federation by President Yeltsin. Yeltsin also expressed his desire for Putin to be his successor. Later the same day, Putin accepted to run for the presidency. On August 16th, the State Duma approved his appointment as prime minister with 233 votes in favor, 84 against, 17 abstentions, surpassing the required simple majority of 226 votes, making him Russia's 5th prime minister by a margin of less than 18 votes. When appointed, Putin was largely unknown to the public, and few expected him to outlast his predecessors. Initially seen as loyal to Yeltsin, like other prime ministers of Boris Yeltsin, Putin did not personally select his ministers. His cabinet was determined by the presidential administration. Yeltsin's main opponents and potential successors were already campaigning to replace the ailing president, and they fought hard to prevent Putin from emerging as a potential successor. Following the Russian apartment bombings and the occupation of Dagestan by militants, including former KGB agents based in the Chechen Republic of Ichkeria, Putin's image of law and order and his ruthless approach to the Second Chechen War quickly gained popularity and approval. Although officially not affiliated with any party, Putin pledged support to the newly formed Unity Party, which won the second largest share of votes, 23.3%, in the December 1999 Duma elections. And in return, it supported Putin. Putin's inauguration took place on May 7, 2000. He appointed Mikhail Kasyanov as prime minister. This marked Putin's first major challenge to his popularity. He faced criticism for mishandling the Kursk submarine disaster. Between 2000 and 2004, Putin seemingly won a power struggle with Russian oligarchs, engaging in a grand bargain with them to rebuild the country from its impoverished state. This bargain allowed the oligarchs to retain much of their power in exchange for openly supporting and aligning with the Putin government. The Moscow theater hostage crisis occurred in October 2002. Many in the Russian and international media warned that the deaths of 130 hostages during the Special Forces rescue operation would seriously damage President Putin's popularity. However, shortly after the siege ended, the Russian president received record-high approval ratings from the public. 83% of Russians expressed satisfaction with Putin and his handling of the siege. In 2003, a referendum was held in Chechnya, and a new constitution was adopted declaring the Chechen Republic as part of Russia, while also granting the region autonomy. Chechnya gradually gained stability with the establishment of parliamentary elections and regional government. During the Second Chechen War, Russia significantly neutralized the Chechen rebel movement. However, occasional attacks by insurgents in the North Caucasus continued. There is much more to know about Putin, which I will cover in another video. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. See you in the next one.